Okay, so let's talk about a modern-day war. But forget about soldiers and armies. The real weapons here, they're ambition. And the battlefields are university classrooms. This is the story of two national dreams, and it pits China's future engineers against South Korea's future doctors.
So you've got to ask yourself, in this age of AI, of cyber warfare, what's a country's most powerful weapon really?
It's not a missile. It's not a tank. It's not a physical weapon at all. The argument here is that it's human talent, plain and simple. The global race for tech dominance, it's not just about code and hardware. At its very core, it's a war for the best and brightest minds.
And nowhere is this battlefield more intense than between two of Asia's absolute economic giants. China and South Korea are locked in this fierce, but very, very different race for the future.
China's entire strategy can pretty much be summed up in this one fascinating phrase, Wan Dou Chao Che. Okay, think of it like a racetrack. It's really hard to pass someone on the straight parts, right? But the curves, those moments of big change, of disruption, that's your chance to surge ahead. And that's exactly China's plan, using these huge tech shifts like AI to literally leapfrog the old guard.
The scale of this shift is just staggering. 20 years ago, South Korea was the tech giant. They were the ones China was looking up to. Today, one analyst puts it bluntly, anything Korea can do, China can do. But there are many things China is doing that Korea cannot. The roles have completely flipped.
But this whole story, it isn't just about national policies and grand strategies. No, this gets personal. This is about the individual dreams being forged in these two countries. And, as you're about to see, they could not be more different.
So, meet Zheng. He's a primary schooler in Hangzhou, China. His parents did something pretty incredible. They sold 2 of their houses just to get him into a top school district for science. His heroes aren't pop stars, they're tech innovators. He dreams of being an engineer because to him, technology is how you can really, truly change the world.
And right here, you see the two paths in a nutshell. In China, this massive national push for tech has inspired a whole generation to dream of becoming world-changing engineers. But in South Korea, the cultural memory of economic crisis has created a totally different dream, the secure, stable, high-status life of a doctor.
And the cultural pressure in South Korea is just immense. I mean, listen to this quote from an education influencer there. It's the ultimate stamp of a mother's success. Think about that. Becoming a doctor isn't just a job. It's seen as the absolute pinnacle of achievement. It's the ultimate reward for a family's sacrifice.
So, how does all this play out? You've got these two very different childhood dreams. Well, it all comes to a head at the university crossroads, where these huge aspirations collide with reality.
In South Korea, there's one statistic that just perfectly captures this whole trend. A single number that's basically hollowing out the country's tech ambitions. And that number is 43%.
So what on earth does that 43% mean? It means that nearly half, almost half, of the students who get into the country's most elite, top-tier science and engineering programs just drop out. They're leaving to try again for medical school. The best engineering programs in the country have become, for so many, just a waiting room for a career in medicine.
Meanwhile, in China, the system is designed to do the exact opposite. It's like this well-oiled pipeline. Your top students get funneled into these elite programs, they get mentored by world-class researchers, and they're literally encouraged to build startups, often getting big investment money from powerful alumni before they've even graduated. It's a direct shot from the classroom to building a tech empire.
So why? Why the massive difference? Well, as it almost always does, it comes down to following the money, the prestige, the incentives that are basically paying for a nation's future.
And in China, the financial signals are just impossible to ignore. The government and private industry have flooded the tech sector with cash. The result? The market is sending a message, and it's practically shouting that tech is the place to be.
And look, this isn't just some abstract chart. Listen to this one AI engineer.
My salary is probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 times higher than my doctor friends. I mean, when that's the reality on the ground, the career choice becomes pretty obvious.
So how did South Korea even get here? This timeline tells a really powerful story of a dream that was lost. See, back in the 80s, engineering was king. But then came the 1997 Asian financial crisis, and it shattered everything. Mass layoffs and R&D jobs just destroyed the idea that a tech career was stable. And in the aftermath, the whole society just ran for safety, towards licensed, secure jobs, and no job was safer than being a doctor.
And here it is, the perfect mirror image of China's economy. In South Korea, the incentives are completely flipped on their head. Doctors earn way higher salaries and have this ironclad job security compared to engineers. So when the country's brightest students look at this, the rational choice is, well, it's obvious.
Okay, so you've got these two totally different talent pipelines. And now, we're really starting to see the long-term consequences of this, as both nations are racing toward tomorrow, but on completely different tracks.
It really just boils down to this. China placed a massive state-sponsored bet on technology, and the results are undeniable. It now dominates global research rankings. At the exact same time, South Korea's search for stability has accidentally created this brain drain, as its top engineering minds either switch over to medicine or they just leave the country entirely for places like the US.
And this brings up a pretty fundamental, almost worrying question. The South Korean analyst put the risk in really stark terms, saying when the best minds of a society flock to professions protected by licenses, it can be seen as evidence that the society is in decline. That is a powerful warning about choosing safety over dynamism.
And so we're left with this final thought, which brings it all back to those childhood dreams we started with. In a world that is being constantly rebuilt by innovation, what is the ultimate price a nation pays when the dream of building the future gets deferred for the comfort of a safer, more stable present?